This video is brought to you by NichirenBuddhismStore.com, where you can shop faith essentials and much more. More on this at the end of the video. There exists a profound practice within Buddhism that has the extraordinary power to transform every aspect of your existence, from the most mundane daily activities to the deepest spiritual aspirations. This practice is Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, the invocation of the mystic law that governs all phenomena in the universe. When you chant these sacred words, you tap into an infinite wellspring of wisdom, compassion, and life force that can revolutionize your relationships, career, health, and inner peace in ways you never imagined possible. The beauty of this practice lies not in its complexity, but in its remarkable simplicity. Unlike meditation techniques that require years of training or philosophical studies that demand extensive scholarly preparation, chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo is accessible to anyone, regardless of age, education, or life circumstances. You simply sit comfortably, focus your mind, and allow these mystical syllables to resonate through your being. Yet within this apparent simplicity lies a profound mechanism for transformation that operates on multiple levels simultaneously. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo translates to devotion to the mystic law of the Lotus Sutra, but its meaning extends far beyond mere translation. Each syllable contains infinite depth and power. When you chant Nam, you are expressing your fundamental devotion and commitment to align your life with the highest truth. Myoho represents the mystic law itself, the invisible yet omnipresent force that governs all existence, from the rotation of planets to the beating of your heart. Renge symbolizes the lotus flower, which blooms simultaneously while producing seeds, representing the principle of cause and effect occurring in the same moment. Kyo signifies the sutra itself, the teaching that reveals these profound truths. The Lotus Sutra, from which this practice emerges, declares a revolutionary truth that challenges conventional thinking about human potential. It proclaims that every person possesses the Buddha nature within them, not as a distant goal to be achieved through countless lifetimes of practice, but as an inherent reality that can be awakened in this very moment. The sutra states, "At the start I took a vow, hoping to make all persons equal to me, without any distinction between us, and what I long ago hoped for has now been fulfilled." This promise transforms everything because it means your current circumstances, no matter how challenging, are not fixed limitations but temporary conditions that can be changed through the power of your awakened Buddha nature. When you chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, you are calling forth this inner Buddha, activating the same enlightened state that Shakyamuni Buddha achieved under the Bodhi tree over 2,500 years ago. The transformation begins immediately, though it may manifest in subtle ways at first. Many practitioners report experiencing a sense of calm and clarity after their first chanting session, as if a fog has lifted from their minds. This is not mere relaxation or stress relief, though these benefits certainly occur. Rather, it represents the beginning of a fundamental shift in how you perceive and interact with reality. The Lotus Sutra explains this phenomenon. The Buddha's wisdom is infinitely deep and immeasurable. This wisdom door is difficult to understand and difficult to enter. As you continue the practice, you begin to notice changes in your daily life that seem almost miraculous. Relationships that have been strained for years suddenly improve. Career opportunities appear from unexpected directions. Health issues that have plagued you begin to resolve. These are not coincidences or wishful thinking, but the natural result of aligning your life with the mystic law. Nichiren Daishonin wrote, "When you chant the mystic law, your life becomes filled with joy. When you face suffering, your suffering becomes a source of joy." The practice works by fundamentally altering your life condition, the basic state of being from which all your thoughts, words, and actions emerge. Buddhism identifies 10 life conditions, ranging from hell, where you feel overwhelmed by suffering, to Buddhahood, where you experience absolute freedom and compassion. Most people fluctuate between the lower conditions based on external circumstances, feeling happy when things go well and miserable when they don't. However, chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo enables you to establish Buddhahood as your basic life condition, meaning you can maintain wisdom, courage, and compassion regardless of what happens around you. This transformation of life condition affects every aspect of your existence, because everything you do flows from your inner state. When you operate from Buddhahood, your relationships naturally become more harmonious, because you respond to others with compassion rather than judgment. Your work becomes more fulfilling because you approach it with wisdom and creativity rather than mere obligation. Your health improves because your body is no longer constantly stressed by negative emotions and limiting beliefs. The Lotus Sutra illustrates this principle through the parable of the poor man who discovers a precious jewel sewn into his clothing. The jewel was always there, but he lived in poverty because he was unaware of its existence. Similarly, your Buddha nature has always been present, but you may have lived in spiritual poverty because you didn't know how to access it. Chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo is like discovering that hidden jewel and learning to use its infinite value. One of the most remarkable aspects of this practice is how it transforms your relationship with challenges and obstacles. Rather than viewing difficulties as punishments or signs of failure, you begin to see them as opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Nichiren Daishonin taught, "Iron, when heated in the flames and pounded, becomes a fine sword. Worthless wood, when carved by a master sculptor, becomes a Buddha statue that is worshipped by thousands." In like manner, common mortals, when they meet with great difficulties and do not flinch, become Buddhas. This perspective shift is liberating because it means no experience is wasted, no suffering is meaningless, and no situation is hopeless. Every challenge becomes raw material for developing wisdom, compassion, and strength. When you face a difficult relationship, instead of feeling victimized, you can use the situation to develop patience and understanding. When you encounter career setbacks, instead of feeling defeated, you can use them to discover new directions and hidden talents. When you struggle with health issues, instead of feeling helpless, you can use them to develop appreciation for life and compassion for others who suffer. The practice also transforms your understanding of time and causality. In conventional thinking, we believe that causes precede effects. You work hard, then you succeed. You treat people kindly, then they like you. You take care of your health, then you feel good. However, the Lotus Sutra reveals that cause and effect can be simultaneous. When you chant Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, you are simultaneously planting causes for happiness and experiencing the effects of those causes. This is why practitioners often report immediate changes in their lives, even before they fully understand the practice. Your financial situation can transform through this practice in unexpected ways. Rather than simply hoping for more money, you develop the wisdom to make better financial decisions, the courage to pursue new opportunities, and the life condition that naturally attracts abundance. The Lotus Sutra teaches that the universe is infinitely abundant and that scarcity is largely a product of limited thinking. When you align with the mystic law, you tap into this abundance not through greed or manipulation, but through developing your highest potential and contributing value to the world. Physical health improvements through chanting are well documented among practitioners, though the mechanisms are not always obvious. The practice works on multiple levels, simultaneously reducing stress, boosting immune function, improving sleep quality, and enhancing overall vitality. More importantly, it develops what Buddhism calls diamond-like health, a robust life force that can withstand various challenges. As Nichiren Daishonin wrote, "Nam-myoho Renge Kyo is like the roar of a lion. What sickness can therefore be an obstacle?" The transformation of your mental and emotional state through this practice is perhaps the most profound change you'll experience. Anxiety, depression, anger, and fear lose their grip on you, not because you suppress them, but because you develop a deeper life condition that naturally transcends these negative states. You maintain your full range of human emotions, but they no longer control your life. Instead, you use them as information and energy that can be channeled constructively. Your creative abilities flourish through this practice because creativity emerges from the Buddha nature within you. When you chant, you connect with the same source of inspiration that has produced great art, literature, music, and scientific discoveries throughout history. Many practitioners report breakthrough moments in their creative work, sudden solutions to problems they've been struggling with, or entirely new directions for their artistic expression. The practice transforms your relationship with others by developing what Buddhism calls great compassion, the ability to see and respond to the Buddha nature in every person, regardless of their current behavior or circumstances. This doesn't mean becoming naive or passive, but rather developing the wisdom to respond to situations in ways that bring out the best in everyone involved. Difficult people become opportunities to develop patience and understanding. Conflicts become chances to practice compassion and find mutually beneficial solutions. Your sense of purpose and meaning in life becomes crystal clear through this practice. Rather than wandering through life wondering what you're supposed to be doing, you develop an inner compass that guides you toward activities and relationships that fulfill your deepest aspirations. The Lotus Sutra teaches that every person has a unique mission in life, and chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo helps you discover and fulfill that mission. The transformation extends to your relationship with death and impermanence. Rather than living in fear of loss and change, you develop what Buddhism calls great joy, the ability to appreciate life fully while remaining unattached to temporary conditions. This doesn't mean becoming indifferent, but rather loving more deeply while understanding that everything is constantly changing. You develop courage to face whatever comes while maintaining hope and optimism about the future. Environmental consciousness naturally emerges from this practice because you begin to see the interconnectedness of all life. The mystic law operates not just in human affairs, but throughout the entire universe. When you align with this law, you naturally want to live in harmony with nature and contribute to the well-being of the planet. Many practitioners find themselves drawn to environmental activism or sustainable living practices as a natural expression of their awakened Buddha nature. The practice creates a positive spiral in your life, where each improvement reinforces others. Better relationships lead to reduced stress, which improves health, which increases energy for creative work, which brings more fulfillment, which makes you a better friend and partner, and so on. This upward spiral continues indefinitely because the Buddha nature has no limits or boundaries. Perhaps most remarkably, the benefits of your practice extend beyond your individual life to positively influence your family, community, and society. The Lotus Sutra teaches that when one person chants Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, the positive effects ripple outward to touch countless other lives. Your transformation becomes a source of hope and inspiration for others, demonstrating that profound change is possible for anyone willing to embrace this practice. The key to experiencing these transformations is consistency and sincerity. Like any powerful practice, chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo requires regular engagement to produce lasting results. However, unlike practices that demand perfection or complex techniques, this practice works through your sincere effort regardless of your skill level. Even 5 minutes of heartfelt chanting can produce noticeable benefits, and these benefits compound over time as you deepen your practice. The ultimate transformation is the realization that you are not separate from the universe, but an integral part of the cosmic life force itself. This understanding brings profound peace, unlimited compassion, and unshakable happiness that no external circumstance can destroy. You discover that the power to transform your life has always been within you, waiting to be awakened through the simple yet profound practice of chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Through this practice, you don't just change your life. You become an agent of positive transformation in the world, demonstrating through your own example that Buddhism's highest ideals are not mere philosophy, but practical realities that can be achieved by anyone willing to take the first step of faith and begin chanting these sacred words. Let's talk about NichirenBuddhismStore.com. Everything in this store is made with care, from museum-quality posters that transform your prayer space to premium teas and accessories that reflect the spirit of Nichiren Daishonen's teachings. Whether you're a new believer or a lifelong practitioner, there's something here for you. And yes, we ship worldwide with guaranteed quality on every order. You can also request new products that you'd like to see in the store. Just send your suggestions or feedback to support@nichirenbuddhismstore.com. Support your practice. Visit nichirenbuddhismstore.com. Link is in the description.